Welcome to Attacking Third, presented by CarMax, the way car buying should be. I'm Sandra Herrera alongside Christine Cupo, welcoming back Satara Murray.
Hey.
During the San Diego Wave FC Houston Dash match, listen, if everybody else and their mama can go and have mid-game interviews, why not us go live during the match? Like, let's go. Like, let's get it. Let's go. So we have a ton to get through. So make sure you've got multiple screens going, catching the last minutes of Houston Dash versus San Diego Wave. And make sure you're tuning into us because we're going to talk about Alex Morgan's jersey retirement. It's a very, very iconic moment tonight. There's multiple milestones we have to discuss, including for Kansas City Current. And if you ask me, I think we absolutely got to talk about Chicago Stars FC. We got to talk about Rodman in the Spirit. We got to talk about Midge Purse, Rose Lavelle, Gotham. We got a ton to get through. And of course, like we do on every night, weeknight recap show, we've got to discuss our team of the week. Make sure you tap into our weekly best 11 where we select best 11 of NWSL weekend matches, a coach of the week, and honorary captain. So thanks everybody for being here with all the craziness going on. There's nothing like NWSL After Dark for sure. So we're filled with gratitude. How y'all doing tonight? Satara, it's great to have you back on the show.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm happy to be back and talk about all the crazy stuff that has happened today and just over the week with the NWSL. So I'm excited.
Right on. Christine, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I missed you guys. I missed the chat. So I'm happy to see they're popping off already because they're also mentally ill like the rest of us, just double screening, triple screening. We can do it all. We can do it all.
I love it. That's right. We can do it all, but we can't do everything alone. We can't, sometimes you need some help along the way. And this is where I'm going to shout out everyone joining us live and anyone who's just like listening to us as a pod or tuning into Golasso Network, because we're just filled with gratitude because I'm thrilled to announce that we're now a finalist in the People's Choice Podcast Awards. And that's thanks to you, our listeners, but we could still use your help. So if you voted for us in the last round, you actually might be eligible to vote again. So go ahead, check your email, check that spam folder. If you have something from People's Choice, click on that and go ahead and give us your final vote. Give us over that finish line to win this award. We appreciate y'all so much. And you know what I appreciate? Chaos. You know what I appreciate? Bottom half table teams saying there's nothing. There's no difference between us right now at this stage of the season. That's what I love. But maybe we start at the top and we work our way at the bottom. Like we've got great results here to discuss from Chicago Stars doing their thing, from Utah Royals making things difficult, from really Houston Dash playing spoiler as well in a multitude of ways. But for Kansas City Current, who are sitting pretty at the top of this table and pretty much just like within reach of that NWSL shield, they're racking up some milestones themselves. So not only did they go ahead last couple weeks ago and clinch a playoff spot, but Vlatko Andonovski, head coach of KC, went ahead and recorded his 100th victory in NWSL. That means you got to have been around here in these parts for a little while, and he is one of two. I we would love to say one of one, but that's not true. Laura Harvey has got the jump on him in that one, so he is one of two NWSL coaches that are going to go ahead and get to claim 100 wins. I mean, he's done it across multiple teams at this point as well, which is kind of impressive. It's not easy to win in this league. I think any coach will tell you that, but when we look at things like legacy, Kupo, what do we think Vlatko's legacy in this league is?
Oh, no, like among the top is what I'll say, if not the best. I just recall conversations with him last season where before their fixing of the defensive issues, because like of course Kansas City had started out like we'll just score a inconceivable number of goals, but like vibes in the defense. Prior to that, and just asking him about like what he wanted to tweak, and once things started to fire seemingly on all pistons, I had asked him like, are you satisfied now that things are coming together? And he kind of said, no. And it's kind of funny now to see it have come so far from where we were last season, looking at KC Current, just holistically as a squad, as a team. And it's not just what we're seeing in terms of like tactics and strategy. they really have this bond, and you can see they play with so much joy. And I think that is one of the primary intangibles that really help push a team through when the suffering starts, as you head into playoffs, when you already have won the Shield and the mentality starts to shift a little bit, where it's like, hey, we got this, and they still keep fighting for each other. It's just remarkable to go on this tear of wins, and then on top of that, you see it reflected in individual player performances. Lorena with clean sheets, and then rippling through the midfield, which are just so dynamic and formidable. And then the attackers, the goal scorers, they're such a comprehensive team. It's nuts, man. It's nuts.
I think they keep winning, so it's hard to say like, oh, this win feels different than some of these other wins in these kind of ways. But it's wild to watch what they're doing this season and still be able to tap in maybe and find a little bit of these things in these wins, whether it's Vlatko, celebrating, recording 100 wins as an NWSL coach, right? Or Haley Mace's 100th NWSL regular season appearance, or the fact that this is their 9th road win of the season. And the fact that win that they get officially clinches a home quarterfinal at CPKC Stadium. So not only do they last week clinch a playoff spot, but then a win out of week 19 means they're definitely playing a quarterfinal at home. And then for Temwa Chawinga, just like keeping the golden boot race completely honest, just saying like, you know what, I'm still in this too. Records her 12th goal. Sitar, I got to go with you with this, right? You're the former defender here. Temwa Chawinga is a bucket. She's everybody says it. She's inevitable.
She's
like that's just if she gets on the ball, it's like you're already too late. Like if you're just recognizing that she's on the ball, is she stoppable? How do you break down this player from a defensive side of things?
Honestly, I don't know if you can. Like, I watch her play, and I thank God every day that I was not in the NWSL when she was playing, because boy, I watch her and I think she's not real. And you know what? It's her movement both on and off the ball. She's so dynamic in what she does, and because she is so rapid, nobody can keep up with her, even with the likes of someone like Sarah Gordon, who's also rapid herself. Yeah. Temwa is just on a different level. You know what I mean? And one thing I like about her is just how humble she is. You know what I mean? I think she puts her head down. She gets what she does what she has to do, and then she cracks on with it. But as a defender myself, I don't know how you can keep up with her. I think sometimes it's just about, one, maybe reading her body language, kind of reading, what she's doing to kind of be a little bit of ahead of the game before she decides on what she's going to do. But even so, she's unstoppable, and she's right up there for Golden Boot, and I'm excited. You just don't know, and I think she's pretty much very close to a complete player. And one thing you like out of your forwards is how clinical they are in front of goal. And she's exactly that. She's a nightmare, so best of luck to all these defenders in the NWSL. God bless, because I don't know how you do it. I don't know.
Prayers. I respect it. I respect the energy, honestly. And look, I mean, Kansas City's putting together some special stuff this year, and we've asked ourselves like, who, at this point in the season could rival them. It feels like, as far as best team in the league and getting that shield, like it's trending very rapidly in KC's favor. But anything can happen in the postseason, right? That's the beauty of NWSL, and I think a lot of us across our bench at Attacking Third, we're like, well, it's got to be the spirit, right? Like at this point, they're not only are they maybe sitting in second in the table, but it's good reason. Like they are putting together good performances, and that includes out of week 19. Kupo, Rodman is back, like so back, like now getting a brace with the spirit back. Like how good does it feel to see this player getting it in the back of the net?
I did my little happy dance, first of all, but I think that obviously we love goals. Who in their right mind is going to say, oh, goals? I think the bigger positive indicator is she pulled her first full 90. And that to me makes my heart absolutely burst, because that tells me, baby, we are so back. Now Spirit lossless in 7. They jockey for a much more I'd say agreeable semifinal if they're in second. They stay in second, hosting the semifinal.
No, the host.
Am I doing the right math?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's gonna be buys this weekend, or this season. But either way, I mean, they're sitting pretty, like in terms of like possibly clenching things through Audi Field. Like they're pretty close themselves.
I also kind of love that this is happening as we remember Adrian Gonzalez had come in to sort of establish this team. And now it's very much his team once again. And we're seeing these stabilizers and these players just absolutely standing out. Their attack is lethal. Gotta love Lacey Santos. I, of course, need to talk about Sofia Cantore again and again and again and again and again. But they really scouting the way that the team has come together. They're looking scary, and I'm really excited to see Rowdy Audi get the rowdiest. I am going to have to make a trip to DC. I'm sorry. I love their fans. They're loud and passionate and vibrant and everything that you want to bottle as a fan base.
You know, the Spirit with this win, they're now undefeated in their last 7 games. So we're talking 3 wins, 4 draws. And I remember hopping on the media call ahead of the Spirit's game against the Stars and kind of like having to navigate this, what are typically like wild second halves of the season, right? It's like something about when the second half of NWSL kicks in and it doesn't, like I said in the top of the show, like it doesn't really matter who's sitting where, like teams are going to like rival each other down the stretch, no matter what. But it sort of feels like not only are they getting on this run, but they're doing it in a way in which players have been able to make their returns to the pitch as well, whether it's Rodman is the clearest example of that, or Bethune, who has kind of also sort of worked her way into form over the course of 14 games through this season, or Hal Hirschfeld in the midfield. And that coupled with the fact that like some of these players are also in their sophomore years as professionals, like I mentioned Hirschfeld and Bethune, but there's a plethora of other players on there, and even players who are just new to the team in their first years, if you're like a Bernal or Cantore in this case. So as far as like timing of this, Satara, does it just sort of feel like we're just crowning Spirit next as like that just obvious number 2 to rival Kansas City? And what do they have to do to make sure that they kind of continue this run of form? Because it's one thing to be peaking at the right time, but to like stay locked in as you are getting all these pieces back into the mix.
No, most definitely. And I think we touched on it a minute ago with Kansas City in terms of the mentality kind of shifts as you kind of get into that postseason, that playoff run. I think Washington, along with Kansas City, they're out there having fun. And I think that is the biggest component of both of these teams. You have a bunch of girls that they gel together really well. They play together, really well. And for the most part, I get the vibe that they get on really well off the pitch as well. And I think when you have that sort of chemistry and then it translates onto the pitch, you just see things working. So to answer your question, I think I don't want to speak too quickly, but I think at some point we will definitely see, Spirit up there kind of rivaling with Kansas City for sure. I mean, I think both teams have these players that are just generational type of talents that, on the pitch together, it's unbelievable. So, but I think, as we continue to keep progressing into the season, as they continue to keep going on, don't change anything about what they're doing right now. It's working, and as Trinity continues to keep getting informed, along with Hal, along with Croy, I think to me, those are 3 big pieces. Along with Lacey, I think you continue to keep getting those players to the form. Listen, come playoff. Listen, crazy things happen at playoffs with the NWSL. We all know this. Like we think a team is going to go out and win, and then something happens. So, in my opinion, anything can happen. But the Spirit, they definitely. I'm keeping my eye on them for sure.
I'm also just like gonna maybe shout out the sidelines a little bit too. Like the Spirit have found themselves as a team that also has to kind of not only figure out how to compensate for the minute management for players in terms of the match load in front of them, as they are a team that is going to compete in CONCACAF W Champions Cup. And they've had to, the coaching staff has had to figure out like rotations within that and when and where to plug in players. And coming off of a week where we saw this Spirit team kind of give a little bit of like, forget them kids energy in CONCACAF, going up against an academy team. Like they started Trinity Rodman. I was like, oh no. Like, it was just like, I was like, what's this going to mean? And turns out it was the right recipe, because it's like, Rodman was out here looking like she wasn't skipping a beat. Like, this is a player that looks like She is content in managing what she's had to manage with that back injury, and like the fact that she's getting the ball in the back of the net is just got to be absolute cherry on the top. And that alone is like scary. I think if you are that team that is sort of being pictured to rival that other number one team in the league, like Bethune needed no time at all herself to even make an impact in this game. So it's just like, watch out for the Spirit, because not only are they doing a lot of the good stuff, they're doing it at the right time. Exactly. Speaking of a team doing some good stuff at the right time.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. You already know where I'm going with this. I came into this little virtual office of ours, chin up, chest out, shoulders back, because I'm like, yeah, that's right. That wasn't a dream. Right. Chicago Stars put 5 on Orlando Pride in week 19 and did it in front of a very large lake. Shout out to Lake Michigan. A little bit of a preview of Northwestern and Martin Stadium.
Is that not the magic of it? They had to christen this Northwestern pitch.
That's what I'm thinking, low key.
It had to be something, right?
Did they have like a priest, a rabbi, like all come out and bless that pitch before this match, or what? What's happening out there? They got shamans.
I don't have enough words to describe what it's like to step on the edge of some grass in front of Lake Michigan in the crispiest air and just like take a deep breath. It just does something to you. It absolutely changes you. And
it's
maybe
beautiful.
that was,
let's be real. It's beautiful.
Maybe that was a little bit of what this was, but this is a little bit of a preview, because going into this game, which was maybe supposed to be just sort of this like unique one-off, ended up being a little bit of a preview for what Chicago is hopefully going to do in 2026. They are going to play home games at this facility. It is a temporary solution. For now, the franchise has said, as they continue to kind of navigate the challenges of making sure they find appropriate facilities for this Stars team. And so Elise was coming up on SeatGeek Stadium in Bridgeview, and they said, let's just swing that pendulum the other way and go all the way north to Evanston. But turns out, like y'all have mentioned,
I had to make it everybody's commute worthwhile, Sandra. Okay, and like 4 goals in 19 minutes, driving from New York.
What a second half! What a second half! Like if you were someone that maybe just like tuned in late, like maybe you like were doing some errands, going to the grocery store on a Sunday, and you were like, oh my god, NWSL's like action's already kicking off, and you just tuned in that second half. Turns out that's all you needed, because both Orlando and Chicago were getting on the board in this one. You're talking like multiple goal scorers, right? Like it's not just Ludmila who's flirting with some of the golden boot race here.
9 goals, which puts her. Hang on, I was
she's at 10 now. Yeah, she's at 10 now.
Which means she's technically solid 3rd in the golden boot race out of absolutely nowhere. Out of nowhere. So sorry, but Sandra, I previously classified Chicago Stars as a whole this season as a mere pest who would peel points off of teams at inopportune times. But not this. This is nuts.
This is different.
Sam Staub, Jameis Joseph, B. Franklin, Julia Grosso, Ludmila.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? On the reigning champion Orlando Pride, who I came in very high this season, saying, oh, they're going to double. I need to get the clown paint out right now because you're making me look silly. Pride, I love you, but I really hate when, despite all of my actual data and tabulations, you defy me. You defy me and logic. And we see the Orlando Pride lose.
It's fair though.
Chicago Stars.
It's fair though. Some of the heat you're giving them right now, because I mean, if you look at the Stars, like trying to build into this one a little bit, like, hey man, turns out sometimes you gotta get 5 consecutive draws before you get a win. And like they finally turned one out, right? And they said, here's a goal for every draw that we just got. And we're gonna like finally get these 3 points. And so
this is I mean, I would send you a bottle of champagne through this screen if I could today, because you've earned it. Okay. Like
incredible.
Chicago in 13th place just pulled up and said, unload the whole clip.
But it doesn't feel like that, right? The vibe is a little bit different, right, when it comes to the second half. And I think that's kind of where I'm left with, like, kind of recapping this game a little bit. It's like, yes, we love a dub. We love multiple goals. There's 7 goals in this match. So like on the Orlando side, I think what you've kind of alluded to a little bit already, Kupo, is like for you, Satara, like, does this feel more like a not just a Red Stars win, but like a warning kind of loss for Orlando? Because it's like, I'm going to own what I said last week, because I said it and I meant it then, and I'm going to mean it again now. Like, I just sort of felt like I've seen this movie before, and I'm like, I saw like the Stars kind of stumble into the playoffs last year. And I kind of have that worry with Orlando that they're going to be in a similar way, shape, and form here. Yeah. So does it not just feel like, yes, it's a loss, but does it feel like there's something that they're got to reach for something else here at this point?
Listen, the one thing about the NWSL, anything can happen at any given point. And this is why I love this league, because the bottom team can go and beat the heck out of the top team on any given day. So this right here doesn't shock me. I mean, I get it. Like, obviously the Stars have been not so hot this season, but the last 5-6 games, these girls have been rallying. And something the commentators were saying during that game was, as the Stars are starting to, come together, it seems like the Pride are starting to fall apart a bit. Now, obviously, I don't really know what's going on in that sense, but it doesn't seem like the Pride, I mean, at one point, we were just having a conversation about whether or not now the Spirit are the ones to rival with Kansas City. At one point, that conversation used to be with the Pride. Yeah. Now we're not mentioning that because of recent results with the Pride. So I'm not entirely too sure what is going on with the Pride. I mean, they still have the talent. Maybe it's one of those things where, all right, they had such a dope season last year, and now it's time for somebody else to take over. I don't know. I mean, they started off the season quite hot, and now it seems like it's going to start cooling off a bit. So I'm not entirely too sure. I mean, obviously, give credit where credit is due with Chicago. They went out there, they did their thing. They christened that new pitch. They did their thing. They gave the audience their money's worth, and the crowd, everything that they needed to. So give credit where credit is due. But I think in the same breath, let's not sleep on Orlando. Let's not have a couple of slip-ups, think that Orlando's, in the bag. They're still Orlando. They're still the reigning champs at the end of the day, So at any given point, they can switch that back on and get back to their winning ways. It's just a matter of when, and hopefully it's not too late. So
yeah, I agree with you, Satara. I think that we've seen Orlando come together before, and even last season, let's be honest, like they ground that out together. Mm-hmm. There seemed to be a more cohesiveness with the team where it was like, we're going to fight for this no matter what mentality. And I don't feel like we've seen that click yet. They're now winless in 5, which for Orlando, I think is pretty bad. And that's because I expect a whole lot of them. But in terms of the glasses half full, we have to look at the debut for Jackie Ovalle, which I wasn't expecting to see for maybe another week. And she came on for Simone Charlie at the half. I think that puts her in an interesting position to get acclimated really quickly into a game. She's been known to create a huge influence. Now, her NWSL debut, I am going to be a little bit more realistic about like what she's able to do. And yes, she was able to acclimate, but I don't think that she was able to create an impact that really helped them too much, which again, not surprising. I don't think that this is a sign of what's to come. I think that as they progress and Jackie gets more immersed in this squad and the chemistry builds for Orlando, this is nothing but good signs. But in the interim, they certainly need to figure out where they're being tugged, like where the seams are getting tugged so tightly. Again, as a really formidable defense, typically things went very wrong for them against Stars.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, I was thrilled to see Ovalle.
I mean, yeah.
Vamos, let's go. I was like, let's go. And but I mean, to your point though, Kupo, I mean, it's like you can go through maybe some of that second half where she came on at halftime and just kind of pluck out a couple of things. And you're like, that was fun, that was cool. I see the vision, I see the idea, but like that's really it. And that's, I think, given what the game was giving at that time and how she's integrating so quickly in such a really crucial moment of the season for Orlando, that's really all you can maybe ask for. It's like
you came into a half,
it's
a brand new player,
do something fun.
7 goals in a second half. Like, she probably came in and was like, I knew NWSL is crazy, but
Right.
like, look, what's happening?
Right.
Yeah. There was like a good kind of connection there between like her and Watt in front of goal. That was a really good chance. But the Stars were just sort of locked in, at that moment. And even then I had the thought like, oh, that's really great for that connection to happen. But then there was the other thought that came in where I was like, oh, Allie Watt's going to be gone next year. What's going to happen for Orlando? So, I still think I'm with you though, Satara. Like, I think these are the reigning champs, they're the reigning shield holders. Good teams find a way. And I think that's sort of where a lot of us are looking for Orlando, because we want them to find that way. But they are now, with this loss, they are now winless in their last 7 games, and time is running out. That window's closing in front of the playoffs, so they gotta get something going sooner rather than later. So let's make sure that we're tapped in and see if they go ahead and find that way and can turn things around. And for us, we're also gonna take a little break, turn things around, maybe talk about some more performances and some more games. We still got to get to our team of the week as well, so make sure you stay tuned right after a quick break. Welcome back to Attack and Third, presented by CarMax, the way car buying should be. And we've got more takes for you. We've got more of the biggest takeaways of week 19 for everybody who's just tapping in. Welcome if you're joining us after that San Diego Wave versus Houston Dash game that went way long, so long that we have already been live since before the final whistle, honestly. But we're gonna get to that and the nitty gritty of that game as well. We got to celebrate. We also want to celebrate Alex Morgan's number retirement for San Diego as well. We're going to get there. But a couple other performances that we want to sort of highlight a little bit, because this table is getting tighter and tighter. The playoff push is getting more and more difficult depending on which team you are and how many points you're trying to scrap for. I think this is where we shout out Gotham a little bit, because listen, this is a team, I think before the break, Kupel, where we were talking about like who are they going to be down the stretch. It turns out they're going to be one of those teams that are going to be tough to go up against, because they are also in similar threads to the Spirit, starting to get some of those players healthy once again and back in the mix. They put up 3 spot over Angel City, who do get a goal in this one, but also another team fighting for points along the way. But big win and big 3 points for Gotham tonight.
In Coach Juan Carlos Amaros, we trust. I don't know what magic he sprinkles, but that team always bounces back, and now I just expect it. It's just the way. They'll slump, they'll do weird things, we'll all scratch our heads, and then all of a sudden they will prove us wrong in the most flashy way possible. Did you see Rose Lavelle today with her little spinny spin coming straight through and splitting defenders, which I was a shit defender to begin with, but quite frankly, if I were a good one, I would be equally embarrassed. I was like, no, but also, yes, give me that. And then I pulled our little silly stat for the night, which is Gotham last won trailing at the half in 2023 against Angel City. So maybe it's just a mystical, magical LA thing.
Maybe it's just the Los Angeles thing. Maybe it's the East Coast West Coast thing. No, I don't know if that's quite a rivalry that's made its way into NWSL. Yeah,
no, not into the lore yet.
Yeah, I know folks love casuals to like to eat that kind of stuff up a little bit. I just listen. It just felt like good timing for Gotham in this one. I thought it was great performance by Howell. I loved the effort by Mitch Person. Of course, Roosevelt. It's like just showing like you can never ever count that player out, no matter how she's winning, where she is in the channels on the pitch. It's like you need to make sure that this player is marked, because she doesn't need a lot of time to have an impact in this one. And I think on the Angel City side of things, to go up so early in that game and then to not really be able to capitalize on that kind of early start, you just kind of, I don't want to say you saw the wheels fall off completely, but you just saw them struggle to kind of generate anything else outside of that really early opening 5 minutes. And it's hard not to think of the week that they were coming off of going into this one. This is a team that's going to navigate the remainder of their second half of the season, what's left of their playoff push, without Alyssa Thompson, who was officially signed with Chelsea at the summer deadline window and was unveiled in front of, the Chelsea match. Like, here she is. She's a Blues, everybody. And so we have been talking endlessly, I think, about this story. We were so thrilled to sort of see such a young player within the U.S. national team system go overseas, get this new opportunity placed in front of her, and just really embrace it and take it. So we're all excited to see what's going to come ahead for Alyssa Thompson. And then that left that question about what's it going to mean, though, for Angel City moving forward. And Satara, I wonder if maybe we got a glimpse of that tonight.
Yeah, I think we may have. Obviously, it was great to see them go up 1-0 in the first half and do it quite early. But I think when you have an embarrassment of riches like Gotham has with the Rose Lavelle and Mitch Burst coming off of the bench, and then they got there and sprinkled their magic, it could be a bit deflating. But then you also see that Angel City didn't really have much pizzazz, if that's what you want to call it, up front. And that was one thing that Alyssa Thompson did effortlessly, and she is a great loss for them. One of the commentators, they were saying that obviously with her departure, it was quite an emotional toll on the girls. She wasn't just a teammate, she was a family member. And it was probably tough for them all around, So not only are you just missing the talent that she brings and the effort that she brings as a teammate, but just probably just overall as a human, as a person, they're missing that as well. But I think we did get a little bit of a glimpse, which is really sad to see. It's big shoes to fill, filling in someone with like Alyssa Thompson. I mean, mind you, she's she's so young, and the fact that she left such an impact on a club for the short amount of time that she did, she'll be greatly missed. But I'm hoping that Angel City can kind of get over that hump, however that may look. It's not like they don't have Kristen Press. It's not like they don't have talent up top. But it's who's going to, come in now and fill those shoes and really kind of do the things that they'll be missing from Alyssa. I'm not saying that somebody needs to come in and be exactly like Alyssa, but someone that can come in and just score goals. That's all they need, but I think we did get a little bit of a glimpse of it today. So we'll see what happens with them the rest of the season.
Yeah, we certainly will. I mean,
Go on,
Giselle just extended her contract, which I think is a good sign. And now Angel City also have a massive bag of cash. When you look at the business side of it, that was a rookie draftee from 2 seasons ago that just became the now world breaker in terms of signings, because with bonuses and whatnot, she'll be closer to like 1.35 million euro, which when we look at the signing of Germa, and that was just a breaker. And then you see Grace Gaioro moving to London City Lionesses. This is, ladies, a mark of where we're at and what's to come in terms of the women's transfer market. This is remarkable, but it also turns your head a little bit because it starts to look like NWSL becoming a massive selling league. And I think that that will be very interesting in terms of the reinvestment and which sort of super clubs start to emerge and start hoarding talent. I think we're starting to see a little bit of Lyon, Barcelona selling off due to their just financial and liquidity issues. London City Lionesses emerging in Europe. And then you see NWSL cultivating a lot of talent and a lot of versatility that would be really attractive to other clubs.
You mentioned Giselle Thompson's contract extension through 2029. Can we maybe lump that contract into a little bit of what you're talking about? Because it was just in January where she signed that they promoted like this contract extension with the Thompson sisters through 28. And it's like, hey, we said farewell to Alyssa, but don't worry, we've got this extra extension for one more year with Thompson. Is that a little bit?
Guys?
Is that a little bit of what you're maybe alluding to a little bit in terms of?
Absolutely. Yes. I think that they're able to sweeten that deal going forward. And think about it. They're both very young, very talented. I think that that happens. There was less of a threat, and I'll call it a threat, though it does end up being mutually beneficial, whether financially or with player talent, in the past. And I think that it was more of a given that you could pick up players like that on a free. And now they're valuing them more as both players, but also financial instruments looking ahead. So when you look at a Giselle Thompson contract extension through 2020, is it 9 or 8? 9?
29.
Yeah. We're going to start seeing these lengthier contract extensions is what I foresee ahead, just in terms of business management deals. And so that's going to be playing into clubs' favors, whether you're here or abroad, especially in making these bigger transactions. But I think that we'll see NWSL start to value a lot of the talent much more than they have, and teams are going to have to compete.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I wanted to see. I don't want to say it was for lack of ever, because I think in certain stretches of this particular game, we saw Angel City at the very least like trying to get these shots off, and trying to make a game of things. But you have you can go back and look at the highlights and think like maybe the shot selection wasn't great, 14 total, only 2 on target, right? Like that'll sort of tell you a little bit of how things went there, and just like the huge discrepancy, like even in just like passing, like 409 passes for Gotham compared to 280 for Angel City. It's just like there was just a stark difference in certain stretches of the game, and really like in the momentum of it all. And look, you have to maybe try something, and maybe that was a little bit of the energy with the like a triple player sub for Alex Strauss and Angel City to bring on those players later into the game, in Endo and Press and Dorson. And you've got some between like 2 of those players, like some pretty big experience there, especially at the international level, whether it was in Dorson or Press, and then Endo, who is kind of working her way back from that ACL still. And you hope that maybe this is a trio that can kind of make things interesting, at least for Angel City, and it did, but ultimately things just kind of like fizzle out at that point. And it just sort of feels like if Gotham was at that point in as much control as they were of the match, it just didn't feel like any moment that they were going to come back in. So I hope it wasn't, even though like I know I pitched that question to you, Satara, I'm like, I hope it isn't a preview, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like I hope it's not a preview of like what's to come for Angel City for the duration of this rest of this season. Because we've heard so much, I think, on the Angel City side about Strauss's arrival to the sidelines and what that's been like. Sarah Gordon's been pretty vocal about some of the ways that she's, developing and learning under this head coach. And I think it's important to note that kind of stuff because they're talking about like a veteran player of the league who's saying like, oh, like I feel like I'm learning new things and developing new things. And so hopefully this will just be like one of those losses that they take and kind of learn from and maybe bounce back, because we'll see. They're still kind of riding like or hovering within that little playoff picture. So in terms of other games across the weekend, before we finally dive into Alex Morgan, we've got Portland Thorns and Racing Louisville. This one was kind of fun because the two of you weren't on some of this previewing that we were doing of this game. It was myself, Jem Beatty, and I believe in Jordan Angeli. And it was very funny to like preview this game because I think I had a draw and I think the two of them had Portland, and we needed a combo breaker. So we went to a poll in the audience, and the poll said that like Racing was going to take it like hands down. And it kind of felt that way in this one. Like can't help but feel like going back to this game, like that maybe there was a little bit of a smash and grab effect here for Portland, because you hate to see it. It ends up being an own goal that is the demise for Racing. But as far as like, again, the standings and points and like the margins, they're so narrow. But this was a game that Racing had to figure out how to manage without a pretty big player for them. And I don't mean just like in statue, like Taylor Flint is tall. We all know that.
A big head helps.
She's been doing incredible things for Racing. And I think that maybe at a certain point of the game, that was like this silver lining, I think, for me. I don't know if that was for you as well, Satara, but like seeing a team figure out how to manage a game, maybe without their quote unquote best player, can only like bode well for them moving down the stretch, right?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think obviously Taylor, she's like 6'1", she's huge. Obviously she's such an impactful player, not just about her size, but in terms of, her leadership qualities and the way in which she goes about her thing. So obviously she was a great miss, but watching that game, I thought for the most part, Racing did hold their own very well. With Jordan Bloomer coming up with that penalty save. I mean, Jesus. Blooms is just, she's unbelievable when it comes to pens, but it was obviously an unfortunate way to end the game with an own goal. But, I think Racing is starting to kind of come in their own right now. You got to give Bev Yanez credit where credit is due. She's taken, that organization, that club, and has kind of gotten them to a level where they haven't been, and since their existence. So, obviously it was an unfortunate end, but, with Taylor missing, I think one thing about that group is I think they have the experience, with Aaron Wright, trying to figure out how to kind of navigate through things without missing essentially their quote unquote best player. And I think for certain parts of that game, for certain stretches of that game, they did hold themselves quite well. It's just that unfortunate own goal. But Taylor's obviously a big miss, aerially as well. I mean, she's like, nothing's gonna pass her, right? So
she's gonna be winning all those. No matter
exactly. So
I think for the way this game shook out, I think it lends itself a little bit to the conversation about like how the points end up mattering and are feeling so much different at this stage of the season, because like a win like that on the road for the Thorns like propels them into the top four. And if you're Racing after all of the results through Sunday, like now you found yourself where you were points above the playoff line, you are the line now. And so it's like you're gonna have to figure out that bounce back. And we have talked a lot about Racing this year.
I have kept spiritually supporting them. Okay. I need them to make playoffs this year. I need it. This is the year. Okay. Listen, they started out this match on their front foot. The runs in behind were good. That ball from Sonis into O'Kane that ended up being that goal was beautiful. They were doing good. They looked decent. They looked like they were clean. Their passing lines were good. And then it's just things start to fall apart. But like shouts to the rookie for getting her goal because that's great. Like number one. I think it's just it's unfortunate that Taylor Flint was on those yellows because she literally has scored 5 header goals against the Thorns, which is like
I
an
don't
all-time record.
Different. She's huge. She's so tall.
Okay.
Man.
I know. Do you know how many header goals I'd score if I was 700 feet tall too?
Same.
I'd be like, hit me, baby, right here, right here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
love to see it though. I mean,
unfortunate.
That was a silver lining for me. I was just like, okay, like Portland, knew they weren't going to have to maybe necessarily game plan for Flint, and yet they still kind of needed a bit of luck to go their way with an own goal there. And you still have to put your effort forth to make sure that you're causing enough chaos to force those kind of opportunities. So good on them for sure, 100%. As far as wrapping up the matches that took place in week 19, we absolutely have to make sure that we take a moment to talk about not only San Diego Wave versus Houston Dash, because the Dash are also on a wonderful streak right now that we got to show some love to. But there was a big moment for San Diego in that they are honoring Alex Morgan. Her jersey is going to be officially retired. They're going to put a little bit of a nice bow on her career and her legacy in NWSL. For those of you who were joining us following the match, maybe you were also keeping an eye on some of the ceremonious events that were taking place as well. Lovely speech at the end there, lovely jersey presentation. Satara, is this like something that you think we're going to continue to see as like the norm across the league, but and in a way where it's like, you got to make sure it's like legacy status because of the numbers that are retired? We're talking like Megan Rapinoe, we're talking Alex Morgan, like I believe Lauren Holiday is in that mix as well. Like you kind of got to have achieved some things, I think, if you are going to earn this honor. But does it sort of feel like a trend a little bit?
It really does. And I hope it continues to keep going this way, because I was kind of listening into Alex Morgan's interview with Call Me Daddy, that podcast.
Yes.
And, she was saying that it's such the norm for men and men's sports, right? Like they get their jerseys, their numbers retired, whatever. And so to see her get her jersey retired for San Diego is incredible. Obviously Alex Morgan, she's my generation. And I mean, generations after our generation and generations after that will always know who Alex Morgan is, So I hope that we continue to keep, seeing this, because there are so many women now and girls in the future that will get to this sort of status, and they need to be acknowledged and recognized for their contributions to women's soccer, to women's football, and so it's amazing to see that she's gotten this done. She's done so many incredible things for women's soccer, not just in America, but across the globe. I remember playing in England, and the first thing you would ask me, because they hear my accent, oh, do you know Alex Morgan? No, I mean, America is massive, so obviously not, but you could just see how much of an impact that she has on the sport, and I think it's so well deserved, and I think this definitely will start to be the norm. I mean, women's sports, it's big, and there's legends in the game, and there'll be legends that will continue to keep coming, and this will hopefully be just like the norm, and we see more jerseys retired as time goes on.
You know what I want to see more of? I want to see more spoils. I want to see more spoils. That's what I want to see more.
Okay.
Even though there was wonderful celebrations, I love a theme. I'm always here for a theme. Mm-hmm. Loved all the GOAT theme and 13s going across the board for San Diego. But what I like more than all of the fun ceremony stuff is I love spoilers. And that's really a theme that we're following in the second half of the season. And Houston Dash are not only finding themselves as spoilers, they are making some noise, and they are knocking on that playoff party door. They got a big win tonight, putting up 3 on Alex Morgan retirement night. And you know what? We thought we should just talk to a Houston Dash player about it all. We've got Yazmeen Ryan here with us to talk about the big win of Houston Dash over San Diego. How you doing, Yazmeen? Thanks for joining us on Attacking Third.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
What's it gonna take to come down from a win like this? Are you gonna have to like do a cool down session and then you all gotta go get a bite to eat? Like I have to imagine like the energy is like through the roof for you and the squad right now.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need a couple ice packs though, to recover. But yeah, it's always amazing to get 3 points, and then especially with this team and the energy that we've been bringing since the second half of the season started. Um, it's really been a breath of fresh air, and like I'm just so proud of everybody.
Yeah, yes, you can see things are really coming together right now in a remarkable way. And you seem to be playing with joy again and being really, really effective. How would you describe right now the team identity under Fabrice Gautrat? And what's the overall feeling? Is there feeling something different this second half of the season, or is it just something we're perceiving from the outside?
Yeah, I think our identity is we've really leaned into defending as one, attacking as one, just really being together as a unit in everything that we do. And I think that's helped us so much. Our counter press and the way that we're able to defend, winning the ball higher up the field as well, has been huge for us. So, yeah, I mean, just what we do doing together. And I think that's really been working out for us.
Yes, I don't know if you how much you feel comfortable speaking about this because there's also a clean sheet here. And even though you're attacking, it takes a team effort to make sure that you walk away with the shutout. I think that's something else that might have flown under the radar here for Houston Dash as you all tap back into the second half of the season. These kind of gritty performances that this team has found themselves on the ends of throughout this season, but maybe not getting those results. And that's not necessarily the case in the second half. Now they're turned into points. So how has it felt sort of watching this and mapping out and game planning for these types of matches where you're like, we're so close, we're right there, we're gritty, we're like stingy. How do we like make sure that we keep getting the ball in the back of the net and make sure that we're getting these wins? So how has it been like kind of turning things from the defensive ball into wins?
Yeah, I think our defense, the way that they put in effort to keep the ball out of the net, Jane, as well, like just their aggressiveness and their energy that they bring defensively definitely helps us, I think, attacking as well. Because, I mean, there's times where like we have to all drop back and cover for sure.
Hey,
but
Justin, Fabrice
I think that they're like
about 5 minutes, and then we'll
their like aggressiveness stepping forward or like winning a ball, stepping in, winning a ball just like gives, I think, the attacking like a lot of energy. At least it does for me, like seeing them work so hard to do their job. And now it's the attacking unit to work hard to do our job as well. And like I said, we're really trying to do everything as one. So that way it feels that much easier, I guess, for lack of a better term, on the field. But our defensive, has definitely always been there. It's just that last, I mean, you said it best, that we've had these performances, but maybe not quite got the goals that we wanted, or giving up maybe not so good goals as well. And now that we're putting it all together, it's really been great. And I think that this role that we're on is something that we've had this whole time, and we knew that we had in us. And we talked about it a lot at the end of the first half of the season too. Like, once we get this, once we can connect and really figure this out, like we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And that's exactly what we're doing.
The win tonight, has put y'all even like closer to that playoff line. Whereas before, maybe folks were just tapped into that first half of the season and were like, goodness, like Houston's just like doing what they do. But it almost sort of feels like the break that you mentioned, it kind of maybe came at a good point for this team. Maybe it allowed you all to continue to work on some of those principles that Gautrat has tried to introduce with you all, and we're watching them kind of play out in real time. I'm loving the defensive efforts, which I already shouted out with you, but the pressing and the efforts there. I think even tonight was a really kind of fun example or good example of like how the Dash can show that they can kind of control tempos in those games. I mean, like this is where we have to shout out Delaney and Colaprico and making sure that they're like controlling that middle third for like the team to finally feel like they're kind of clicking and firing on all cylinders now. It almost sort of feels like it's a new season, even though it's still the same season. So what is it going to take for Houston to not just knock at the door, but to kick it down?
More 3 points. I mean, we have to get these 3 points, and ties are, you know, whatever. They're not like amazing, but now that we're getting closer to the end and this final stretch, we need to keep getting 3 points, keep getting shutouts, and just keep up the performances really and keep our confidence there.
Absolutely. You guys just slid into ninth, and the two teams who will remain unnamed for the moment are doing far more poorly than you guys are currently as things sort of come together. I do have a question on behalf of the chat because I did want to pitch this out to them to give you the opportunity to ask you something. They want to know how you've grown and changed since coming over from Gotham.
Wow. Yeah. I think in a lot of ways, I think this team has allowed me to kind of step into a lot of different roles, but in a different way, not just playing different positions on the field, but also the freedom in which I can move in each position. And I think having also like being a more experienced player on this team, because I think we are a bit of a younger team, and kind of taking that experience and like now that like I'm a player that this team will look to and like has looked to make things happen either offensively or defensively. And so I think in those ways, like it's really helped me grow just to be that much more sharp, that much more focused, and to be that much more aggressive on the ball as well, especially attacking wise and creating chances, assists, goals, all that. So I think having that kind of not weight, because I think I personally flourish in these situations, but just more freedom, just a lot of freedom to kind of do my thing, and knowing that the players have my back as well. But yeah, I think also like, yeah, I guess more of like a leadership role by example on the field is something that I think like for me is what I'm kind of contributing right now, and kind of bringing my experience from the past two teams that I've been on here.
Winning. So you like the responsibility. So we're going to see the pressure make diamond Yazmeen at this juncture in your career. You heard it here first, folks.
Right. Hey, listen, watch out because the Dash are coming and Yazmeen Ryan is out there doing the damn thing. Yazmeen, we appreciate you joining us after the win. But safe travels to you and the Dash, and hopefully we get to check back in with y'all and maybe it'll be talking about the playoffs. Have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Good stuff. You love to see it. You love to hear it. Honestly, like it's a long season in NWSL. 26 weeks is no joke. The fact that they had this league found itself taking a long mid-season break, and now it's like a season within a season, but really it's still just the same one. And listen, you got to follow the trends where they're leading you, and the Dash are right there. They are now sitting in 9th place. So do they and can they make the playoffs? Do you think they do, Sitar?
Yeah, I mean, hearing Yazmeen speak about, the mentality is just getting, it's just winning. They're not even worried about, drawing with any of these teams. They're worried about getting all 3 points and progressing up the table, which is exactly the mindset that they should be having. Seeing how they have been, going about this second half of the season, it would not surprise me. Like I said before, crazy things happen in this league. You know what I'm saying? Like we may think, maybe not, but listen, Houston, don't sleep on them. Don't, because I know historically it's always kind of been Houston's been doing what Houston typically does. This could be that change that they've been anticipating for a really long time. And it's looking like, based off of their performances, and not just today, but what they've done in the last 5-6 games that they've gone lossless. Like listen, spooky things are starting to happen. You know what I mean? So just don't sleep on them. That's all I have to say about that.
They're on an undefeated streak right now. So I'm with you. I think, look, we've been saying it all episode, anything can happen. And I think that also means Houston Dash potentially making the playoffs. We'll see. They got a schedule in front of them.
Like right above them is Racing and Seattle, who are not faring as well. And to both of your respective points, I agree with you in terms of things coming together. But as an aside, I think we're discounting the fact that, to Yazmeen's point, it is a very young team. And sometimes being very young works to your advantage, because you haven't yet named the boogeyman. In that respect, you don't know what you should be worrying about because you haven't really been there yet.
Right.
And so you're more likely to go full force ahead, even if you don't know you're running headfirst into a wall, but you're going all in. And that sometimes works out for the absolute best mishmash of a little bit of experience, a little bit of who knows, but we have nothing to lose because
Right.
I've never been here. I don't know where things could fall off or where I could falter. You're not afraid of failing because you haven't reached that success point yet.
Right. Right.
I love it. I think they have enough there, and they've got enough of a really nice streak going at the right time to maybe get them over the hump and into that 8-team playoff picture. Thank you again to Yazmeen Ryan for joining us on the show. We're gonna say goodbye and adios to Golazo Network. Thank you everybody for tapping into our NWSL Week 19 recap. We've got extra time. If you want more, make sure you join us on YouTube. We'll be back right after a quick break with our team of the week. Welcome back to Attacking Third, presented by CarMax, the way car buying should be. We got to close it out. And of course, we're going to close it out with everybody's favorite segment of the week. It's Attacking Third's weekly best 11, the time of the show where we have to narrow down 300 plus players to just a team of the week of 11 players, a coach of the week, and of course, an honorary captain as well. This is going to be the first time that Targets to join us. And
no pressure. I feel the tightness in my chest already. Everybody's been like, we're seeing these pop up in like press releases going forward where teams are like, it's part of the team of the week. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. No pressure. It's all good. No one's going to get upset at you at all if you don't name their favorite player. Like it's fine.
That's everyone. Constantly.
Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. But that's also the fun of it because we get to drop some players. So listen, if I just drop every single Chicago Stars player, just look the other way. Just don't worry.
Right.
All right. We're gonna have some fun.
Chicago Stars. We're starting 11.
Just stick around and see what it looks like and sounds like. No, okay. We're gonna take some of the pressure off of you, Stark. We're not gonna have you go first. Okay. We're gonna give you defensive responsibilities, but we're gonna go front line to back line. So Coop, I'm gonna have you kick us off. Who have you got for your starting forwards? I'm very curious to hear who it's gonna be and whether or not I might present some players for you to consider. So kick us off.
Fight, Sandra. I can fight. All right. Real talk. I'll be serious. Serious face on. The one, the only. Trinity. Brace today, Rodman, because you cannot deny me here. Okay. 2 goals, high stakes, playoff impact match. Baby girl showed up. And then the icing on the cake, we got a little Ben sideline reporting, and I forget his last name all the time because I'm not an arm sports girl, but I appreciate that he pulled up for her and returned the favor and asked her some thoughtful questions and then so delicately and professionally tossed it back to commentators. So for me, Trin, her brace and her pulling a full 90-minute shift is, you're not taking her out of my top line. Secondly,
that's fair.
Temwa Chawinga.
Okay.
You cannot. She's undeniable. Come on. She's back co-leader of the Golden Boot race with Esther, which is insane.
She's
her
got
consistency. Consistency in scoring, her ability to exact change in matches when there's already a stacked Kansas City side, and standing out when you're among other monsters is even more phenomenal. You know, when you're the star player, you're the star player, but she's got another 11 bodies or 10 bodies beside her that are just insane. Okay. Then this one is not for Sandra. This was for me spiritually, but she'll appreciate it anyway. Ludmila, who has absolutely caught fire. Okay. This woman came in quiet, like a whisper, and then suddenly Boom. She hit everybody over the head with goals. Historic hat trick, week 18. Week 19, she pulls in and says, "Oh, all of my teammates managed to score goals. Ping. Let me just pop one in there real quick." She's creative. She delivers. She's got these bursts of brilliance. She's a pleasure to watch at this point. So this is my sonnet to Ludmila at this point.
I love it. I'm with it. I'm here for it. I mean, she was voted the August Player of the Month, like, and she gets the fifth goal in this one, like in the 89th minute. So it's like it's just a little reminder. She's like, I'm coming for September too. Like, I respect the energy.
She's like, I didn't have to, but I want to.
Here you go ahead and bless them and keep the party rolling. Like I loved it so much. But I mean, like, it's almost like you could make an argument for like Jamise Joseph as well. I thought she had a banger of a game, like got that kind of extra like go ahead goal, second one in that game. So, but the thing about this though, it's like I can present a case for Jamise Joseph, but it's like who do you take out? And honestly, I think this front line is really, really good. I don't think you take out anyone. You got the Golden Boot leader in Chawinga. You got a Bryce from Trinity, Rodman, and Ludmila just like keeping up her form. So it's a crazy attack right there. I had the honors of midfielders. So unless you want to maybe make a case for another forward, Satara, I'm going to jump into mine.
Nah, I think solid front line. Honestly, I think.
As far as like, she started with she can fight, so I'm gonna.
If I had the responsibility of doing the front line, I'm pretty sure I would have been player with that because that is that's a lethal front line.
Yeah, so, I think coming into today, my like honorable mentions would have been like Poot and maybe like Paige Monahan for Utah, but outside of that. I think I'm more than content and chose the right three.
Yeah, I think you did too.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. I am curious if maybe we'll have some different midfielders, but this is who I'm rocking with for week 19. This player had a case for them last week, and I would have loved to have seen them get those honors, but I kind of felt like I was voted down a little bit. That's not happening this week. I'm putting Jalen Howell into the week 19 best 11 for attacking third. I think this has been a player who's been deeply underrated for not only Gotham, but across the league in 2025. And, I think I was chopping it up with Aaron West about it on the show. And we were like, maybe some of the reasons why at the timing of it all, Gotham kind of being this like will they or won't they team this year, just hovering at that playoff line, maybe sometimes looking above it or just below it. And I think sometimes those underrated players on those teams go even more unnoticed. And I just really, really love that Howell is maybe finally getting some love here and some notoriety in this second half of the season.
I just want to hop in real quick with that because I played with Jalen at Racing, and obviously she came in, very highly touted, coming in from Florida State, had such an illustrious, career at Florida State, and at Racing. I mean, you can say what you want to say about it, but I feel like we're starting to see the Jalen that everybody knew was in there. And I hope she gets that nod with the U.S. Women's National Team again. I hope Emma is paying close attention because Homecrow's doing her thing. I think she's been revived at Gotham, and I'm so proud of her, and I'm so happy for her. So, yeah. No,
I love that shout because y'all were former teammates at one point, and that's part of the case I think for her this year is that look what can happen when maybe you get a change of environment, and more than that, like just have a healthy season, right? For This is a player like there was a lot of pressure placed on those shoulders, like coming out so highly rated out of that draft class, and it's like now you're in an expansion team that's kind of trying to find its way in year 2, and it's just like trying to stack all these pieces some kind of way, and that pressure is no longer there in this year for this player. So we're seeing her rock it. So that's like my one unshakable. Like y'all are not taking how she's going to be on this best 11. I'm also going to put into the midfielders this week Lacey Santos. I think this is another one of those Washington Spirit players who is coming back at the right time for DC right when they need her. I look this when they first signed her, a year ago. I was like so thrilled for this player to get her to the league. Showed us last year the razzle dazzle on what she can bring on the pitch, and she's an international player, so she plays with Colombia. So she's had to really we're talking about like match load for players at times on the Spirit. This is someone that has also had to be absent due to Copa America Femenina in the summer and navigate international duty in there. And now we're talking about an additional club competition alongside a very, very long NWSL season, but gets back into the mix in week 19 and delivers an absolute dime. So she is going to be on my midfielders list for this team of the week. And I gotta give some love here to Julia Grosso. I don't know if anyone else is feeling some type of way about the fact that I'm like naming another Chicago player on this list, but I thought this was the game that people can look to and say, "Oh, there she is," and that's what she can do.
Right.
And I think for some players, when they get signed into NWSL from whether it's coming from overseas or different clubs, maybe there's that adjustment period where you're just like, yeah, I'm not quite seeing it yet.
It's difficult. It is. Yeah. That transition from coming over from Europe into the NWSL, it is always a struggle. No matter where you're coming from, whether that's the Super League, whether that's in Spain, France, whatever the case may be, adjusting to this league, it's no joke. So I think, like you said, we are finally starting to see what Julia can do, and she had a pretty good performance today. So we'll take that.
It's that lake. It's that crisp air. I'm telling you. That's what it is. All right. So I've got Howell. I've got Grosso. I've got Santos. I said Howell's my like unshakable. I don't know, Cooper.
Yeah, Howell, and I feel like Santos is also like unimpeachable. Let's be real. She's my little creative spark. She was responsible for that first assist.
Yeah. I was gonna say if you're gonna pitch me someone that you'd have to take, like, tell me who to take out. So like it sounds like maybe you might have someone to pitch to me, or you like. I mean, I'm good.
I just need to. I feel like I would be very remiss if I don't mention that we have to say Rose Lavelle.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, I was going. Yeah.
Single-handedly, her creativity, and you see what kind of players I like, right? The little low-key flashy, we'll do a little spinny spin, make you real sad. But she's responsible largely for Gotham's second half comeback. So I feel like Grosso, yes, she had a phenomenal game, but I feel like the indictment that would have been a Gotham losing again to Angel City at this juncture like this.
And
not being able to peel it back, especially when we know that they have such a hard time coming back from a deficit at all, is kind of remarkable. And I do owe that largely to Rose.
I don't disagree with you. And in fact, I think if this were last week even too, I'd also be like, yes, for sure. But I'm not taking out Grosso. I'm gonna keep my three, but honorable mention for sure for Roosevelt, because she is cutting.
We need to give her a shout. She needed to be in the mention.
Listen. I'm open to it. I love a collab. So we're gonna go ahead and poll the audience. And then maybe I'll see how I feel about it. But I know they're all gonna have my back about Grosso. So
I do love when we're passionate about our picks, though.
I do too.
I mean, doing the marathon in the middle of a game is just, that would have just solidified it for me. Because the fact that she did that, I was just sitting there thinking, no, she didn't. Just do that. Done. But I think
Chad, if you haven't watched that, we'll go back and watch the highlight of Rose doing that alone. I'm not saying you have to watch the whole match, but just go watch that and then have sweet dreams tonight.
Our producer Mark's putting up the bubbles of everybody voting. Shout out to Russell. I see you like Grosso. Let's go, John. I see you.
It's weird. It's weird how the Lavelle ones aren't popping up on the screen. However much you paid Mark.
Listen, I said poll the people. All right, I don't got that. I don't have money like that to pay strangers on the internet. Okay, like let's just keep it. Let's just keep it real. Okay, so while the chat is voting, we've got our forward line, we've got our midfielders. Now we need defenders and a goalkeeper. Tara, who you got for us?
All right. So in terms of defenders, Sandra, I know you're going to appreciate this. Sam Staub is my first option. That free kick, oh my goodness. Listen, I don't think I have ever seen a center half score a free kick like that in all of my career. I mean, I would think the only person I can say is maybe Alex Greenwood, because with the same left foot. I mean, she did it a couple of days ago and almost scored against Chelsea. So, but Sam put that in the back of the net today. And Sam, one thing about Sam, she's just consistent. She's an absolute, she's a rock back there. She's stalwart. So I will always give Sam Staub credit where credit is due. So she's my first pick.
She's staying. I'm already saying she's a lock, only because not only was that a free kick goal, that was Chicago's first of the season free kick goal.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So and first at that stadium. So let's go. Let's track it up. Who else you got?
So I don't know. I might get. I don't know. But Esme Morgan, I feel like ever since she's been back from the Euros, and obviously with Spirit having a clean sheet today against Reign. Again, she's just someone to me that's very consistent. I know this is a little bit different because defenders, we don't have the riz like a forward or a midfielder, you know what I mean? But I love a defender that can just keep it simple, put somebody on the behind a time or two, and just wins their challenges. And that's what Esme, in my opinion, did for 90 minutes. So I definitely have to put her back there. Do I have any debates about that?
No, I like that one. Let's keep it going. Keep it moving.
All right. Now, obviously, this one, she only played 45 minutes, and I was confused about her substitution because, if I'm being completely honest, she was solid. Alyssa Thompson, I think she wasn't giving Gotham a sniff on that right side. Well, their left-hand side, their right-hand side. So her getting subbed out, to me, was questionable. I don't really know what was the reasoning behind that, but for me, when somebody is that consistent and they're doing their thing, you just keep them in, just keep that momentum going. But she was obviously subbed out, but I enjoyed watching her play for the 45 that she did. So that's where I'm at. Nice. Okay. And then lastly, Bruninia. She's just got riz. She's got that,
She's Brazilian. That's a cheat code.
She's a cheat code. She just does her thing. She's out here just megging people left, right, front, and center. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, she's doing this as a fullback. I'm here for it. So that is my backline. My honorable mention was going to be Sarah Gordon. She's got that speed. She's obviously super experienced. And I think considering how the game was obviously going, especially in the second half, she's kept it pretty much locked down there for as much as she possibly can individually. And so she was my honorable mention. Goalkeepers. So I picked one. And then after watching that Houston game, it's a wrap. I was going to do Jordan Bloomer.
Which is a great shout.
Right. Yeah. I think Blooms is unbelievable. Like I'm so glad she's getting an opportunity to see her with racing, and she's showing out and she's doing exactly what I know she's capable of doing. But after watching Jane Campbell perform tonight, it's a wrap. Like,
can you imagine that she wasn't getting starts?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
I said, can you imagine that she was not getting starts?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I'm gonna have to select Jane on this one, but I obviously want to give a shout out to Jordan Bloomer. I mean, I think she's an incredible keeper. But Jane she's like Spider-Man out there, man. So I was just like, Jane's got to get that nod for me tonight. So that's who I have.
I think that's fair. And that happens sometimes. I love that this was also like a learning experience for you as well, Star, because it's like we've always had to go through that. It's like from Friday we'll have some folks locked in, and by Sunday night we're like, never mind, got to scratch you out. Exactly. And that's like a huge example of that. Like Bloomer has been like incredible, and I love like there's a certain energy that goalkeepers have sometimes, and like the fact that like she's not afraid to show her personality during some of these moments. So I love it. But I mean, shutting out, getting a clean sheet for Houston on a big night in San Diego is massive. So I think like that's one of those unshakables there. I'm you know what, I really respect the Bruninia shout, because if we keep her on here, this is going to be a second consecutive week where we have her on our team of the week. We had her on there last week as well. But again, we're talking about teams getting players back or getting players into form at the right time. And it just sort of feels like this is another one of those players for Gotham's equation. So I can't help but feel like, in light of the performance for Houston that you just mentioned, that we maybe nominate a Houston defender in this one. And I gotta bring up Paige Nielsen, because she straight up has a block, like body on the line. Like quite frankly, like clean sheet saving block.
For sure.
And did the full 90. So I don't know. I think maybe I would swap G Thompson out for Paige Nielsen.
Okay, fair enough. Absolutely.
I don't know if you've got someone else in mind, Kupo, like, because
I think that's fair. I mean,
I'm not going to take out Sam Stop.
I was doing my little Rolodex of defenders here, but I think Paige is actually a really good shout, not just for today's work, but her last 4 starts, she's had 25 clearances, 10 interceptions. She scored a goal, which was the game winner against Angel City. I just think that she has been a consistent performer. And today, once again, she showed that she can step up and lock things down back there.
For sure. I mean, that's just Paige, though. I mean, that's just how she's been. You know, she's just consistent like that. I mean, ever since we were in college, same thing. So that was a great shout. I think that is I will take that one for sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going Staub, we're going Esme Morgan, we're going Paige Nielsen, we're going Bernini.
Yes.
Right on. And Campbell in the back. All right. I love it. I'm feeling
I think we have to acknowledge one, Jordan Bloomer also is becoming this PK save specialist because she's saved 3 out of 4, which is
one
remarkable.
shy of the record.
And like we don't give keepers their flowers often enough. I also want to acknowledge this week Silkowitz for Bay. Career high for saves in a single game against Kansas City. And Kansas City, on the other side of the coin, had season high shots in a single game with 21. So Silkowitz really had to fight for her life back there. And I commend her because that scoreline could have been absolutely astronomical.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm cool with those picks.
I love it. Okay. I'm open to suggestions in this one because we're getting some repeats on our week 19 from week 18. And it happens. Like this is the time of the season where it's going to happen like that. The teams are really going to either separate themselves or make things more difficult for us as analysts to nominate them. But we have Vlatko Andonovski for clinching a playoff spot before September even flip the page on the calendar, and I'm nominating him again for Coach of the Week because he picked up another win, which meant it was his 100th NWSL career win, and it also clinched that home quarterfinal match at CPKC Stadium. So I'm good with leaving him in there, but again, I'm also open to other suggestions. I think there's a lot of good ones out there, honestly.
I mean, I that was going to be my option as well, but I also kind of want to look deeper into Fabrice at Houston, seeing what they did tonight, obviously with the magnitude of the occasion that was going on, and then but then aside from tonight, just like their last 5-6 games, this whole second half of the season, I think we kind of need to look into him as well. But I think Vlatko is a great option, but I just think what Fabrice is doing with the dash right now in terms of, we're kind of changing that narrative on the dash and, as an overall, as a team, as a club, as an organization. And so, yeah, I would kind of look into him as well.
I'm open to that. That's a good case.
So it's funny because you both have isolated coaches that I was like, this would be a really good shout for a bunch of reasons. I also have ping-ponging around in my head Adrian Gonzalez for Washington Spirit because he has, since the second half of the season has turned this corner, proven that they can make the go and they're getting bodies back in places. He's got new personnel that have integrated remarkably. And I think that getting them into this second spot seat right now in the standings is really, really favorable for them heading into playoffs if they can stay and sit.
I think this is what I meant though when I'm like, actually there's a case for like a lot of
them. Exactly.
Legitimately, it was like in my head, Vlatko, Fabrice Gautrat, because you have literally made the biggest shifts, I feel like, as far as the team has gone in terms of turning the screw week over week now and refining where we're seeing it. And then on top of that, Washington Spirit, where we had seen them waver a bit, they've become, for me, another scary team because they now have the depth that they were lacking with the injuries, and their players who are their top performers are now back into the lineup.
Right.
I'm willing to take Vlatko down on the shelf and retract mine and go for like either Adrian Gonzalez or Fabrice. I'm with you, but I really do love what Gonzalez has been doing with the Spirit really since day one, because he started in an interim capacity and then went to full-time assistant and then remained full-time assistant and then got promoted to interim and then now is full-time head coach again. So even him in his own year 2 with the Spirit, he's finding his coaching identity within NWSL, and I'm very appreciative of what we're seeing out of it. But I like the case for Fabrice, and honestly, I'm gonna give it to Fabrice just because we had that interview with Yazmeen after the game, and just kind of hearing her a little bit talk to that might just kind of sway me over. So I'm gonna go 2 for 2 with Sitara and on Fabrice, and I think maybe we put Gautrat for Coach of the Week for this one.
Cool.
Honorary captain. I don't want to just like make it the obvious one, but we were talking a little bit about it before we had to dump a bucket of cold water on it because the Dash won and defeated San Diego Wave. But we can bring it on back. Honorary captain. I think maybe we got to shout out Alex Morgan in this one a little bit. You got to have one hell of a career in order to have your jersey retired, meaning for people who don't know what that means, it means anyone coming through to San Diego Wave will not be able to rock 13 because it is just enshrined for all time. And this is a player who has not only done so much for NWSL on the pitch, but also off of it as well. And of course, we can weave in everything and the national team side as well. And I think that is the stuff that often gets a lot of the headlines and the attention because you're talking about a much larger stage in the international game. But as we find ourselves week in and week out talking about NWSL in comparison to maybe how there was a lack of conversation or buzz around NWSL when it first launched in 2013, it is completely different eras. And while there is still always room to improve and, room to grow, I think it's an incredible moment to just sort of recognize some of that change that has already come into play. And it doesn't happen, of course, without the players. I know you can testify to this, Sitara, and Alex Morgan is one of those players. So I'm putting her up for honorary captain.
I agree with you. And furthermore, what I'll say is it's not just the retirement of Alex Morgan's jersey because she was a phenomenal player and she stood out among the others. It's also because without her and her generation of players, there would not be a league that could actually have the solid foundation that we have now with which we'd have the capacity to retire anyone's number. We've seen iterations of this league before, and I think that it's, in essence, retiring her jersey is also an homage to everyone else that came up living and working out of office trailers and not having facilities and all of that has gotten us to this point. And so, yes, like honorary captain, absolutely.
I think you just summed that up beautifully. Absolutely. I think, she for sure, hands down, my honorary captain. I cannot elaborate more on what you just said because I think, she did something so different. That group of women in particular just did something so different, and it's an honor to have watched them do that the way in which they did. And Alex doesn't, I think for her, it was never about the fame, the notoriety. It was just about making sure women soccer players, women in general just had the same, opportunities as the next man or just anybody, across the board. So I will agree with this decision. I for sure am going to say she's definitely my honorary captain. For sure.
This was fun. I hope we made it as painless as possible for you, Sitara. I know this was your first time doing a team of the week with us. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you want to do future ones with us. Listen, Sunday scaries, not here apparently. We're burning that midnight oil. We got 2 minutes to the clock hits on the East Coast, so I'm gonna try to go ahead and let everybody ring in their Monday with some shut eye. Thanks everybody.
People on the West Coast are still early fucking buzzing.
I know.
They're just happening now. Like, what are you talking about? Great, glad to see y'all are still up. I am faded, y'all. I'm ready to go. But listen, time flies when you're having fun. I'm thrilled to have been able to do another one of these with y'all. Everybody, thank you all for tuning in with us on Attacking Third. We will return tomorrow. Literally in 1 minute, September 8th, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. You could catch us right back here on YouTube with Lola Bonta, Darian Jenkins, and McCall Zerboni. Make sure to follow Attacking Third wherever you get your podcast. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating and a review. We're also available on youtube.com/Attacking Third. You can catch us on the CBS Sports Golazo Network for all your women's soccer coverage. For our producer, Mark, Christine Cupo, Satara Murray, I'm Sandra Herrera. This was Attacking Third. Thanks for being here.